Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Thursday, it's November 16th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And this is going to wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Fridays. A couple of things before we get started on today. We had a really nice uptrend today. No shorts today. As you can see from the very get-go, we were above the EMA all day long. And it's pretty straightforward. There's actually probably another shorter term channel right up through here. Um, it doesn't really come into play. Well, I guess you could say it comes into play. You really don't need it, but I'm going to put it on here all the same, just so you see it. We'll make it a little darker. Um, Personally, I can, I've done this so long, I can just glance at the chart and I see these things, so I don't always put them on here. But I know for learning purposes, it's always better to have them on here so you guys can see them. If you do this as long as I've done this, you'll eventually get to where um, you can see this stuff too. So, and uh, and that brings me to another point. I actually had a eye appointment today. Actually, a couple of things here. I had an eye appointment today, and they dilated my eyes. So, look at the screen is really agonizing right at the moment. So, I'm probably going to move through this pretty quickly, not spend a lot of time on it today, and I'm going to wrap up and get out of here. That's one thing I'll tell you that I've noticed that over the years, staring at this screen, it's really, it's not good for your eyes, and it hasn't been that good for mine. Um, I was a little worried about my eyesight. I've just suddenly, it seemed like in the last couple of months, my left eye was giving me some trouble. It just seemed like my vision had really deteriorated in that eye. And but I got good news today. My vision just was changed a little bit, and he said it's was completely normal. It's just my age. I'm getting to that age where you start having to have reading glasses, and the fact that I stare at the screen all day every day probably doesn't help. And but as far as the health of my eyes, all was good, so I felt good about that. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. But just be prepared if you want to do this for a living. You're going to have some issues with your eyes. Staring at this thing all the time, especially as you age and get older. But the other thing is, um, I'm going to try to upload the right video today. I'm going to try to get through this and get out of here early, but I won't be pressed like I was yesterday. And I promise you, I'll try to upload the right video today. But what happened yesterday, when I came in this morning, I had several emails. People asking me if I was all right. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Did I sound like I wasn't okay in the video? Because I knew I'd done the video and I uploaded it, so I just assumed it was there. But what I did in my haste to get out of here yesterday, I had a late afternoon meeting and I was trying to get the video done and uploaded. And in my haste to get out of here, I actually updated Tuesday's video again. So there was two videos of Tuesday there. And so if you did notice yesterday was there and you looked at it, it looked like Tuesday's. That's because it was Tuesday's video. So I apologize. I had too much going on and too much on my mind trying to get out of here, and I just flubbed up and made a mistake. So I apologize, but the new video is there, so when you get time, you can go watch it. But today I'll try to make sure I get the right video up. And generally, what happens is each day after I upload the video, I delete the old one, and it's just gone. That way, I don't have to accidentally. There's no sense in storing the videos. They're stored on YouTube. There's no sense in storing them on my computer, so I just delete them. Well, because I rushed out of here while the video was still uploading, um, I didn't delete it like I usually do um, or for, actually, let me back up. For some reason, I did not delete Tuesday's video. And so when I rushed to get out of here and I was trying to upload it, I just put it on there and let it go automatically and left. And so I didn't see it when it ended. And, and actually when I came back in this morning, there was a message on my screen that said, you uploaded a duplicate video, even though the dates were slightly different. It still, I guess it could, they can recognize that the video was the same video I uploaded the day before with a different name. So, but it obviously it did allow it to stick, I think. unless maybe some of y'all, maybe it didn't, maybe you couldn't see it on your end, but it was still in my files on YouTube. So I don't know, but anyway, to make a long story short, I uploaded the wrong video. So that's the reason you didn't see yesterday's video. And some of you can, maybe one of you reply back and tell me if you could actually see the video or not. Maybe you couldn't even see it since it was a duplicate video. So, but when I went into my files on YouTube, it was there. And so I don't know if y'all could see it or not, but somebody hinted that they actually looked at it and thought they wondered why my chart was so much different than theirs. So I don't know. But anyway, I'll get the right one uploaded today. I'll make sure of it, and hopefully I won't make that mistake going forward. So, but let's talk about today. Like I said, I don't want to sit here and look at the screen very long because it's kind of, with my eyes dilated, it's a little bit bright and a little bit uncomfortable to look at it. But anyway, and this was kind of an interesting day. It's a very strong trend, all uphill, lots of little bars. You can see lots of dojis in there. When you see that, that's a strong trend. You're just looking for reasons to enter, really. And notice you got a clear channel. This is a spike in a channel. We spiked up, went into this channel. So this was a little interesting that we broke above here, but we never could get to the upper side. Maybe it was just too strong. But generally, once you get through here and are going higher, you're going to get back up to the upper side, and we just never did that today. Maybe this shorter term channel in here kept us from getting there when we had the momentum, and we just never could get that. Even though it's still strong momentum, we never could get that much higher. So that's a little unique that we, if you find your measured distance, that's what that arrow is. I just measure that distance, move it up, and place your other line up there, and that should be your target. But we never could get there. So I looked at maybe looking at some different things to see if maybe there was a midline somewhere else in there. And you could make an argument that there was, but because you can kind of see that does fit across those final highs up there. So maybe your midline's back in here. I mean, you can make this work. It just doesn't feel right to me though, because it's not typically. I mean, this fits so well here, and you can see that line prices, so I'm not sure what happened, but anyway, it didn't work out today that way. I mean, your trend line still helped you, your midline was still there, or your upper trend line, however you want to look at it, is still there, and you can see its prices are, reacting to it. So while we couldn't get any higher, doesn't really matter. You never know where prices are going when, your final target. You can get in the right ballpark, and this still even gets you in the right ballpark, but it just doesn't quite get you there. So enough about that. I'm going to talk about the trades, and then we'll wrap it up. You had to kind of be patient this morning. It was around 8 o'clock before we got our first trade. A little after. Actually, it was just right before 8:30. We're just kind of going sideways here, a lot of sideways. And you finally get a little drop lower here. I would have liked entering here, except your signal bar is just not very good. Now there is another signal bar right here that's pretty, fairly strong and bullish. It opens on its low and closes on its high. So you might have let it break higher there and dropped the limit order back in here, but it's just a little awkward entering there with no better signal bar. But notice there's a lower high here. So in effect, that's a second entry. And it is crawling up that trend line. So, and you got just enough room to get out. You may let it break higher and drop a limit order because I think it's exactly 4 ticks to those highs. So you might have needed a little extra room, and you could have gotten filled right at that high, and maybe even a tick back in that bar if you did it that way. But it wouldn't have mattered. Even with a buy stop, it went straight on up. But you do need to be a little bit leery of that final high right there. But with that leg up, and then we're still making higher highs and higher lows for the most part, and you've got a little two-legged correction. Generally, that two-legged correction is going to be the middle of a pattern. And you would measure that measured move, and then that's the middle of your pattern. And so you look for a measured move. And you can see we went a little further than that today. And that may be, so that gives you a clear target to shoot for. But you can see we went a couple of points higher than that. Maybe 3 or 4 points higher than that. So, but that's generally what I'm looking at. when I'm looking for something there. So you get a lower high here. I like entering there. Like I said, you might use a limit order. And then where does it turn down? Right off those highs again. And it comes back right to the trend line, and you get a second entry right there, right off the trend line. It confirms that trend line, the whole 9 yards. There's also a little bit of sideways and a little drop lower. So I like that one. But it actually comes back again and gives you a second opportunity. I like adding on there if you're already in. If you're not in, you definitely want to get in there, because now you got a little, you probably trapped some people short, but you got a second confirmation of that trend line. Now you got 4 touches of that trend line, and off it goes. Again, there's no shorting here, so when you get to the highs, you're not going to short this. It's too strong. Notice what happens here. You got a new low right here, so you got a first entry, then you're coming up, you get a second entry, so that's going to be your failed second entry short. You got plenty of room before you get back to the upper trend line or trend channel line. It's a fairly bearish bar. It didn't close. It's one tick off its high, but that's good enough. It's also a little failed drop out of that sideways stuff there. A lot of little reasons to take that trade. Plus, it's right off the trend line. And then it pushes up, and watch what happens. Pull back, first entry, pull back, and there's a, let me make this a little bigger. That's kind of small. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. I apologize. I can't hardly see it very well at all because of my dilated eyes, so I wasn't thinking about it. But there's a second entry long there, but look how sideways that is. And the biggest reason I don't like entering there is that it's right at the high of that trend line. So if that is the trend channel line, it doesn't mean that you won't go higher, or maybe this isn't the midline, but you're taking a big gamble there when we've turned down off that line so many times. So I just don't like risking it. The only reason you might is there is a clear trend line working up through there too. Notice all those touches, and then it comes back, touches it there, then it touches it again. And this is a strong trend, so there is a likelihood that maybe you're going to get another, that this is a midline and you're going to get another move up. So if you want to be aggressive, that can be, and plus that little one tick drop lower, we know those become, a lot of times will be significant lows or whatever. And so you might turn out that that's the lowest point for the rest of the day, and guess what it is. So there's reasons to take that trade. And then of course it moves on up, it comes back, you get a break here. But you don't have a lot of room right there, so I think you probably want to wait on a second entry here. And notice it comes back and tests that line, which is what you want to see. And so I like entering there. Unfortunately, that signal bar is just too neutral. It closes right in the middle. That's really a 1-bar trading range. It does end up breaking higher, but then you get this big correction. So if you'd entered there, there's a good chance you got trapped, stopped out, only to see it go higher. So if you follow the rules, you don't get trapped right there. Then we do have a little correction here, and what does it do? You get a nice bullish bar again right off that trend line, but this is a failed break lower as well. There's actually right here, you could have considered entering here as well. That's your first real close outside that bar, but with that being a failed break lower, and if you drew this line up here and pull it down, it would be bouncing right off of it. So that's another reason you got multiple points in here that are all support. Notice you got your EMA, your trend line, your support right across there, multiple bounces. So I like that one. Especially since this has been such a strong trend. That's really the first time we really got a close underneath the EMA since back in the early morning. So we're probably going to go higher here. We're going to probably at least test that high, and off it goes. And then of course you got another little short-term trend line coming up through there. You get a little bit of a correction right here with that double matching highs, but you got to go long at the high of the day there, and so I think you got to skip that one. It finally comes back here, but again, it's a first entry and not a lot of room to the highs. Wait on that second entry, which comes, even though really you get a new high there, that's still 2 legs back to the EMA, and then even here there's a move down, a push up, and a second move. So that's even a hidden second entry. So I like that one. It does come back again and gives you another little small bar. It's only 3 ticks, but it closes almost on its low, so it's not a great bar, but you still, if you're already in, you might on right there, and if you're not in, you probably might want to get in right there. It's a second entry. Look at all that support right there. You got the EMA, this trend line, what looks like is probably a midline at this point. Triple matching bottoms there, lots of support there, and it breaks higher and takes off. And that pretty much got you into the 2 o'clock hour, so not much after that. But that is a nice, strong trend. It's been a while since we've seen one that strong. And another thing is notice all the little bars that, in the little shallow corrections. That's a strong trend. When you see lots of little bars just keep going higher and higher, and when you get to corrections, they're fairly shallow and it just keeps going higher. That means you got a strong trend. Study this chart, because even though that doesn't look like it, and to a newbie that looks like a weak trend, probably that is a very strong trend with lots of buying, and you don't have much selling. You get very shallow pullbacks. And on days like this, when you get an entry at the trend at the trend line, the key entry points, unless you have been way away from the EMA for a while, you probably want to take those trades. That's another reason I'm a little bit leery of these two right in here. You've been away from that EMA for so long, it's time to come back, and notice what happens. It comes back and it takes off again. So yeah, it's a strong trend. Learn to recognize it. But anyway, this has gone longer than I wanted it to, just because of my eyes today. So I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you had a good trading day. I hope you've had a good week. We'll be back again Monday. Next week will be the Thanksgiving holiday in the U.S. I haven't looked at the calendar yet, so I'm not sure. I'll probably trade definitely Monday and Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, but I'll probably take off Wednesday too. I'm not sure at this point. And I'm not sure what the trading holidays. I know the market will probably be closed Thursday and probably a half day on Friday. That's what it usually is. So, but anyway, I may trade some Wednesday morning. I may take Wednesday off too, but I'll let you know on Monday. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.